Recently on the forum of Model Ship World, there was a discussion about the best type of clamps to be used when shaping and planing strakes for the model. So I thought I'd go through the evolution of the various vices and clamps that I've had over the years and where I've reached to date. So the first thing we would do is take the blank piece of wood and draw out whatever the shape is that we wanted to plane down to. The next way is there's a lot of wastage here, so you can do two things. We can go to the spiral sander and cut it down this way. We could go on the table saw and use this jig, which comes with both the gimbals and the pre-arc. I've never liked these jigs for one main reason is in Kurt Van Dam's recent discussion on saw safety. I find my fingers get much too close to the blade when I'm pulling this thing through, because the blade is going to be coming here and I'm just very uncomfortable with it. So I would go on the bandsaw outside on a jigsaw, or I'll use the spiral sander and take off the bulk of the piece that needs to come off. Some of you will remember that I purchased a number of Vises clamps. This being the main table clamp, which still has some work to do on it. I'm not 100% happy. And later on I bought these dogs and this little adjustable dog, and it has a little plate that fits over it. There is actually a black plate, but it got left in New York, so I just made this one up temporarily. And this allows me to clamp all sorts of interesting things by simply placing this piece down. Either I can tighten the vise in, or I can just tighten up this little adjustable dog, and it will hold the piece. It will hold the piece tight against the plate and allow me to do anything I want on this. Having said that, I'm going to take you back to the original way that I started planing pieces, and that is I had developed this board which is sized. This is a 1/4 inch scale, and this is 1/2 inch scale. And what that would allow me to do is fit a piece of wood tightly into one of these slots. In the case of this one, this fits into the 5-inch slot, and then I could put my finger down and plane the piece this way, and then simply flip it around and plane it this way, and I would get a really nice piece. Of course, you can use the Vises table vise and simply lock a piece inside if it's big enough, and it's very easy to plane it, so that really requires no explanation whatsoever. Another tool that I had made this up, and they all fit. All of my jigs for holding the various vices fit in this Vises. So I'll just bring this out. This was for holding odd parts, and you can change where these fittings go. So if you had a strange part, you fit it in the vise, and then you tighten it up. So I have a curve here, and that holds the piece in fairly rigidly and allows me to simply do that. Or I can use it like a regular vise, hold a strake inside of it, remove these dogs, and again simply plane it this way. Then I have another one I had made up a while back. This is a Proxon vise that I've had. It's an XY table and it has a little vise in it, and so I can just hold that in place and plane that beautifully. Part of the problem with pieces that are not very strong, that are not hardwoods, is when you're planing stuff, you need support, and this is just about 2 inches. So if you are pressing very hard, you might get some bend down this way. It doesn't end there. Some smart guy a long time ago told me, look at what other crafts are doing and use some of their tools. And this is a jeweler's block. I think there's a name for it, I'm not sure. And what I've done is I've modified it. Well, first of all, I would put pieces on it and plane it like that. In some jewelers, they have it at an angle. Some of them have it flat. The angle is much more useful if you're sitting at a chair. Then I decided that I could modify it, which is what I've done here. And so it's ready, hard in place, and it's not moving, and the piece is backed. And now I can this has turned out to be my most favorite way for planing the strakes for the model. Of course, the main workbench has end vise, which for larger pieces I will use, but I can also use it for small pieces because it's a nice tight clamp. Of course, you're going to find all over my shop little vises. I think I got this from Micromart a few years ago. I've thought of relocating it to the main bench, but the truth is I like having these vises all over the place. I have this temporary vise which can fit on any tabletop where you have an edge. So again, it's a multiple use vise. On the mill, I have the Sherline mill vise, which again is very useful. The Cameron drill press also has a vise on it. It's very useful, and I would say, again, in all my drilling applications, I'm using this vise very regularly. Proxon chop saw comes with its own vise. In the outside shop, I have another workbench clamp, and again, this is used regularly. And I have 2 or 3 other clamps that I have for metalwork and various things. This is a portable Dremel vise that I've had for years. It's going to stay portable. It's an interesting little vise. It allows you to move it around. It would be very easy to mount it permanently. It had a terrible handle which I've replaced, but I really need to put a longer reach handle on it. And it's really not that great a vise. These tend to stick, they need to be lubricated. But it's a vise I'll take with me when I'm going somewhere. So those are my current jigs and vices of what I've been using on the HMS Thorn to plane the strakes and to get a nice clean line. So see you next time.